Good evening, everybody. Madam Clerk?
Councilmember Von Rudenberg.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Canestrino.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Sims.
Here.
Councilman Pataglia.
Here.
Mayor LaBrus.
Here.
This meeting is being held in accordance with the Open Public Meeting Act, NJSA 10:4-6 et sec. Notice having been published according to law with a copy on file in the city clerk's office and a copy posted on the bulletin board in City Hall.
Thank you. Would everybody please rise for the flag salute? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay. With that, I'll turn it over to the city manager.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This is the March 26th Council of the Whole agenda. First is a presentation for the 2018-19 Park Development Grants provided by Millennium Strategies. We're also fortunate enough to have from the John Rafalski firm, Tom Barati and Tom Donahue here. Also Pete Blanos. So I'll turn this over to Pete Blanos. And I'll move out of the way. Yeah, no problem.
All right, good evening, everyone. Again, my name is Pete Blanos, and tonight I'm going to be leading the public hearing on 3 grant applications that are being submitted by the city. Before I get started, I just want to make sure there are copies of this presentation. It may be a little hard to see on the screen for some in the back, but there's copies. Albert has over there, so if you didn't receive a copy of a printed version, please feel free to just raise your hand and he'll distribute one. So. All right, so the city is currently in the process of preparing to file 3 applications. As a part of the application requirements for each one of these grants, there's a need to host a public hearing so that the public may provide comment on the applications that are being submitted. The applications that are being submitted, one is to the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection Green Acres Program. We are in the process of preparing a multi-park application. And that multi-park application is for improvements in Stive Park as well as improvements in Columbus Park. We're also in the process of filing a 2019 Municipal Park Improvement Grant application for improvements to Stive Park and a 2018 Municipal Park Improvement Grant from the county that we are repurposing. The reason why we're doing these all together is to just avoid having to do 3 separate presentations on each one. The county and the state have indicated that it's acceptable in this format, so this is how we're going to proceed. So without further ado, we're just going to discuss the improvements that are being proposed, first and foremost for Stive Park. So Stive Park is a medium-sized recreational facility located on the north end of town, just south of the Coles Brook. And along Coles Avenue. It is home to a few existing amenities, which includes a baseball, softball field, a children's playground area, and a basketball court. So these are just some existing photos of the existing conditions of the facility. As you can see, some of the amenities that are featured there, but they are in need of upgrade at this time, as well as some additional amenities that will be added as part of this project. So what the city is proposing is several improvements at Stive Park. The first being the installation of a new dog park. The second is the rehabilitation of an existing basketball court. The third is the relocation of existing playground equipment. The fourth is the installation of an open-air pavilion. And the last item on the list is the installation of a concession and bathroom facility. There is a note on there that that is not a part of our grant request, so for the record, that's something that we want to highlight. Neither the county nor the state will allow municipalities to use Green Acres or County Open Space Trust Fund dollars for facilities like bathrooms or concession facilities. So as a result, it's not something that we're including in this request, but it is a part of the overall project scope. So want to make sure it's noted so that everyone's aware, but just we will not be able to request funding for that particular piece of the project. As far as cost goes, I'll get into this in a little more detail towards the end of the project, but the total cost for soft cost and construction related activities for this project is about $602,700. So that's the total cost. That is with the concession and the restroom facility included, which accounts for about $300,000 worth of that. Moving on to Columbus Park. Columbus Park is another medium-sized recreational facility located on the southern end of the city. Actually, it's located directly on the border with the township of South Hackensack. It is an active recreational facility that is home to several amenities, including a baseball, softball field, an existing children's playground area, basketball courts, a tennis court, walking trails, as well as an all-purpose court. As far as the existing conditions for Columbus Park, the basketball courts are the area that we're focusing on within Columbus. They are in need of rehabilitation. As you can see from some of the photos, the striping on the courts has faded. The macadam or the asphalt surfacing is beginning to deteriorate, has cracks. There's some areas that are, it's beginning to separate, so it's definitely in need of an upgrade. There's also some drainage issues in the lawn area adjacent to the courts, where there is ponding after weather events. You can actually see some of that ponding that is occurring in that photo right there as a result of the snow. So these are things that are going to be addressed as a part of this project. So moving on to the next slide is our proposed improvements. So the proposed improvements for this location are to mill and pave the existing basketball courts. We're also going to be milling and paving the existing walkways around the courts. Going to be installing new basketball hoops, park benches, and trash receptacles at this location. And we're also going to be installing new drainage systems and reseeding and bringing that grass area up to grade so that there's no longer any drainage issues there during weather events.
What about the softball field?
The softball field is not included as a part of the scope for this particular project, just the courts and the area directly in the vicinity of the courts. I'm sorry. Before I skip to the next slide, the total cost of this project, including soft costs and the construction cost, is $172,590. So that includes construction and soft costs. The next page, which is one of the ones that I wanted to just kind of walk through because I think it's the most important and it determines why we're requesting what we're requesting. So I'm going to walk through this real briefly for you. Basically, the total cost of all improvements, so construction and design for both projects, based upon the estimates that were provided by the engineering firm that assisted with them, is $775,290. So that's the total cost of this project, soup to nuts. For the purposes of the grant request, we obviously have costs that are eligible. So as indicated earlier, the bathroom and concession facility is not something that can be considered as a part of our grant request. So that automatically removes $300,000 in construction costs that we could apply for towards this project. So the eligible cost that we can apply under is $475,290. Then you get to the last category, which is the total grant fundable costs. So in addition, one of the stipulations of the Green Acres program is that we may apply for soft costs up to, and the amount we can apply for soft costs is up to 13% of what the construction costs or eligible construction costs are for the project. So as you'll see here, the $45,530 is 13% of the $350,290 in eligible construction costs. So that's how we get to the $395,820 that we have listed here. So I don't want to mislead anyone. Like I had mentioned, the actual cost of the project is $775,290. It's just this $395,820 is what we're dealing with for the purpose of our grant request. So moving to the last section here is the grant funding that we're going to be requesting. So through the Green Acres program, we're going to be requesting the actual total that we're eligible for, which is $395,820. As an urban aid municipality, Hackensack is eligible for a 75% grant through that program and a 25% 0% long-term loan. So that's how it's broken out there, the $296,865 grant, which is 75% of the project cost, and the $98,985 in the form of the loan, which is the remaining 25%. In addition to that, we're applying through to repurpose a 2018 Bergen County Open Space Grant that we were awarded, which is for $100,000. So that grant will too be applied to the balance of this. And then the remaining, we're also applying for an additional $25,000 through the 2019 Bergen County Open Space Grant Program, which brings the total grant funding or funding for this project to $520,820. Now that's number is in excess. Obviously, the amount of grant funding we're requesting is in excess of the project costs. One thing to note is that almost $100,000 of that is in the form of a loan. So what we are trying to do here is maximize the grant funding so that hopefully the city doesn't have to use that loan, and this project can be fully funded through the grants. So with the first two, we can probably achieve that. The reason why we're requesting an additional $25,000 to the last program is really to kind of serve as just a buffer in case there's any additional incidental costs that are incurred as a result of this project. We know that no municipality is immune to bids coming in higher than they were originally anticipated or certain unforeseen costs occurring during when the project is officially constructed. So that additional $25,000 will help to provide some additional cushion for the project that we have here. So I know that was probably very confusing, but I tried to kind of just break it down as best as I could so you understood why we were requesting what we were requesting, through these programs. So that concludes the presentation on the three applications that we have for us. So before we would open to the public for any questions, I would ask if the mayor and council have any questions. I'd be happy to answer.
Council? Questions?
Who walked with you to these two parks? Who went with you?
Who worked?
Who went with you from the city?
I didn't physically visit the parks, but I think that probably something between DPW and whoever was involved with identifying these sites.
Question?
No, I went to Stipe. I wasn't at Columbus, though.
Question?
I think it's great. We should apply for as much money that's out there and put our best foot forward. And hopefully, we've been fortunate in the past to secure a lot of this grant money to do work in our parks. So hopefully we'll be successful. We know a lot of our parks, and we've been trying to go through them piecemeal, one by one, and make the accommodations that we think are appropriate. So, I don't know much about the condition of the basketball court. I'll rely on our recreation folks for that. But I can see from the pictures, it looks like it's certainly in need of repair. We know many people have been requesting this dog park for a long time. And we also know that I know even though it's not included, the bathroom facilities and stuff up there are really have been neglected for quite a while. So
When does this grant have to go in?
The deadline for the grant is actually this Friday. So we're really at the tail end of the process at this point.
My only concern, I mean, some numbers when you look at them jump out at you. 300,000 for a bathroom kind of hit me hard. It was like, but that also includes a storage area and a concession stand as part of that?
Yeah, I would have to defer to the engineers, Tom Barati and Tom Donahue.
Yeah.
I know they're not in their heads.
All right, when they come up, I'll ask. You want to come
Why
up
don't you
now?
ask them to come up and-
Yeah, why don't you come up?
Want to look at the plans, but
It looks familiar to me.
the 300,
The bottom.
Would you like an easel? We have easels in the other room.
Facing that way, the way the people have to, wheel it outside.
The cost for the restroom concession area will include men's room and ladies' room, and also a family room, which is be used by any family member that's necessary for, changing babies or whatever it may be. Also, along with that, there's a concession area which would be open to the field and the pavilion, which is next to it. So all those items together, including a storage area behind the concession area, would total up to approximately $300,000.
Okay. For that, where they're putting the bathroom and the concession stand, are there, and I've been over there, and there's a lot of smaller diameter trees, probably 7, 8 inches. In that area, there's no big oaks or anything that are going to come down, is there?
There's a couple of large trees in
Large
that
ones?
area will have to come down, yes, which surround the existing restroom, which will also be removed.
Right, because that's a thorn in the side to some of our shade tree people and some of the people in town. So, if it's a matter of, I realize that probably the drainage, the plumbing is already there. Are we using the existing plumbing from the old bathrooms that are there?
there is a plan for a new service to be brought in and an extension wherever they're going to move this. There's already a water line that runs up the sideline of the pre-existing parking lot, which will be tapped into to provide water for the dog park. I don't know the shape of that water pipe. I know that building has been there for an
I'm sure it's old.
It
May need
it's
to run
shot,
a
so I
new
don't
line.
know. I know that there was additional funds put in there to make sure that we had money for a water service line and sewer line if we have to replace it. Obviously, we won't know until we open it up and inspect it.
So they're not using the original pad then from the old building? That'll be
No.
totally demo and gone. So all I would ask is if we try to, not take down any trees that are not necessary, that, if we could move a building over 3 feet and avoid taking down a 200-year-old oak tree. I'd prefer that.
But then one of the problems there is that, because I always go there with my granddaughter, is that this particular tree, they really old. And sometimes you got pieces coming down, they're about this big and about that much in diameter.
Right.
If one of these pieces went on the top of somebody's head, could be an adult, could be a kid.
It could happen,
killed.
absolutely, and I would definitely ask that an
Old tree,
arborist,
Somebody gotta go up there and
should
looking-
check and trim
yeah.
all the trees to make sure they're safe, because not only that, but the dog park itself, there's be trees in that area as well, which are gonna need to be trimmed and make sure they're maintained. But,
And I just want to say I agree with Leo. I was actually talking to one of the counselors there, and they said,
Mm-hmm.
you know, you don't want to see healthy trees being cut down, but her concern
No.
in that part of the playground during summer rec
And
is
the
there's some
playground.
old, you know, there's some
Right.
big trees with big branches there. So if they had covering for shade versus these big branches during windy days or whatever, they
When they're
would
gonna
prefer
put that
that.
canopy there? The canopy,
That would be part of this project.
right? So it's gonna be the here,
That's part of it, yeah.
so somebody gonna go and look at the trees.
All right. Any other concerns here?
Mayor, you're going to open this, any questions from the public?
With that, let's, are you done, Pete?
Yes.
Anybody got questions?
Just going to open it up to the public. Anybody who wants to ask questions about these projects, please come forward.
Need a motion?
Need a motion to open the public?
Oh, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None opposed? Seeing no one from the public, motion to close to the public.
Offer.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
None opposed? All right, thank you, Pete.
Great, thank you.
Appreciate it. Just, I know if people watching this on television, there still will be another meeting about the dog park itself, correct?
Yep.
And some fine details. I went over there and looked at the area actually last night. And I met with one of the neighbors about the location's all right. We're thinking of maybe tweaking it and turning it. And we have to see if we can put any type of buffer between Davis,
Right,
maybe some arborvitae's or some shrubs or something like that.
right.
And some other parking issues we need to address down there. But other than that,
I see what you mean.
No, there'll be another meeting. Right.
That's why they can't put it. Staple it back together.
all right,
So back to
back
that
to 10.
That's the parking lot where the people hide. This is the song.
I'm good. I'll make this work. Okay, thank you. Next is the introduction of the amended tow ordinance. It's new and it's updated, and we've added some minor improvements to it, but the changes obviously exceeded as a minor change. And Mr. Kleiman, do you have anything to add?
You know, just so you're, aware, I mean, the changes were all reviewed and recommended by the police department. They were the ones who suggested the additional changes, so it looks like it meets with their approval, and I have no issue with it.
Okay, Mayor and Council, any questions or any issues with the tow ordinance? Okay, number 3 is suburban engineering change order for fire headquarters. Because there has been change orders, a new contract has to be put in place to exceed the old contract, because we've now changed the threshold by 20%. I was unaware, and it's something that I missed. When I first arrived here, we had T&N Engineering that were doing this project for almost 20 years. I thought that there was a ordinance or a brownfield grant that was covering this rehab of this condition under the firehouse floor that had been put in there with a pump to try to remove environmental issues of either oil or some kind of contaminant. I learned that after 20 years, they hadn't solved the problem. So we got a new engineering firm, but I did not know that we were funding that project through the operating budget. So now we have come to the point that we're going to have to award a new contract as a change order? Pardon me? Whole new contract. So I need the approval of the mayor and council to continue this. Suburban Engineering has taken up the baton and moving forward. Assured us that they are going to find finally a remedy to clean this up and end this environmental issue that's occurred under the floor of the firehouse for the last 20 years. and we're going to finally put this to bed and be done with it. I thank the council to approve this new contract so we can finish this. Number 4 is the Northern Light Rail Project. This is a resolution. The Northern Branch Light Rail Project to extend the existing Hudson-Bergen Light Rail line, which, despite its name, currently operates only in Hudson County into Bergen County. This, with approval, the Northern Branch Light Rail Project would then provide a direct link to Hackensack residents to most of Hudson County, along with a convenient access to New York City. I think that light rail transportation to the city of Hackensack, with all of our other improvements, provides our new residents and those to come another possible way to work and other options. So I'd ask the mayor and council to certainly approve this resolution and consider it. The only thing that this does not identify at this time is an actual station here in the city of Hackensack. But obviously this would start to open up the door for the process if that was something that was amenable to the mayor and council.
I mean, and I can speak to it briefly. This is a project that has been on New Jersey Transit's drawing board for a number of years, but has never been funded. And recently, at some budget hearings down in Trenton, our state senator raised the issue of, is this ever going to be funded? And after seeing that, it seemed appropriate. We previously adopted a resolution several years ago asking for this to be funded, and really nothing has happened since then. So certainly it seemed appropriate to renew that and try and keep the pressure on New Jersey Transit to, in addition to all the other challenges they face, they still have to meet the growing needs of the area. The line itself runs on existing track, and there would be stations nearby, but not currently in Hackensack, but certainly close enough with park and rides that Hackensack residents could get to them and use that to get into Hudson County. There are other transportation projects that the council does support that actually do include stations in Hackensack and would have connections to the system as the transit system in northern New Jersey progresses.
I agree, Ted. I was mixed up with this one, too. This can't go any closer to us than Englewood.
No.
But the other one that we're also supporting is the Passaic-Bergen line, which would be coming from Hawthorne, that was intended initially to stop in Hackensack, that we're hoping will also continue to this Tunley Avenue access. But those are two distinct projects. But I mean, even having such close proximity as having right in Englewood, I think, would certainly be advantageous for folks that live here in town as well, just knowing it's there and available.
The Bergen Passaic project has huge potential. It actually runs all the way up to Port Jervis, New York. Runs all the way down Route 23, all the way down in through Passaic County, Patterson, Hawthorne, right through downtown Hackensack. That's the line at Mercer Street, and goes all the way down to Tunley Avenue, and would intersect, if it was ever built, with the new light rail. So there could be a combined station there. So that's and the track's already existing for this one completely. Yes, it's still used for freight, but there's a way to schedule freight and passenger lines so they don't interfere with each other. So we're definitely behind that.
That's what we're really hoping for. And I think, with the development that's happening in town, hopefully New Jersey Transit will see that there's volume here that will be looking to support that. And hopefully we'll get some good news about that as well.
Okay.
Number 5 is the issue of the zoning board members' reappointments. The zoning board had a member resign for personal reasons. The zoning board now adjusted has 6 voting members and 2 alternates. Apparently they had their own internal approval, and Dr. Carrion has been approved as the lead candidate to move to a full-time spot as an active member of the planning board. but that would still leave one part-time, or I should say alternate, and they really could have as many as 4. So if approved by mayor and council, Dr. Carrion would be a full member, and we'd still need 3 alternates if approved. But I guess there's a cry for assistance because they want to have a full board and be able to take action and be an active board.
Noted.
Number 6, discussion of DMR for reexamination study. It's a statutory requirement that the city provide this reexamination, and we have a proposal from DMR for $24,800. I would personally recommend this. Fran, probably with his knowledge and experience in the city and what he does for redevelopment, would be a good candidate to be able to provide this study and make sure that we are in compliance. And I would recommend the mayor and council approve that. Number 7 is a resolution opposing the North Bergen power plant. There's been apparently a fair amount of discussion about this, and that the other communities in the area have taken approving resolutions. One of them modeled after the Ridgefield Park resolution to not support, not in favor of this new power plant. Do you have anything to add to this?
The only thing I would add is, the resolution we're adopting is different from the one that some other towns have adopted. It contains extremely long and contains numerous assertions that may or may not be justified by the facts. And so I'm always concerned about when someone gives us a resolution to approve, that the council looks at it independently and makes its own judgment call. So this resolution makes clear the council's position on it without going so far as to cite certain factual statements that we haven't independently reviewed and confirmed are not accurate. So, but it does get the point across of what the council is trying to convey and what has been recommended to us specifically by the Hackensack Environmental Commission.
And if I could add, I'd like to thank the Environmental Commission. I mean, we tasked them with doing some research, and they presented this to us last time, and I think they were very thorough, and they made excellent points. And we're here to confirm, what their findings were. So again, thanks to them for the great job they did.
Okay, and number 8 is the DMR gym floor colors. This is very, very important stuff, because this is gonna last years and years and years. So I have color samples. Basically, I think we're gonna stay in the wheelhouse of the blue and gold for the city of Hackensack. But if you can just pick some colors here and help me, so we have to get back to DMR to finish this. So I'll start here. And to my knowledge, it's going to require, I think it's 3 colors.
This is just for the drawing in the middle, or is this for the whole floor?
4 colors.
4?
Any reason you gave the picking of colors to women first?
No. Pass it to the
I'm gonna-
basketball folks. They know.
I'm
The floor
gonna
itself
pass.
is typically wood, so
I
just
would
a trim.
assume. It's just the trim, right, Dave? The floor
No,
itself is wood.
It's a volleyball court too, you gotta have lines for.
No, but the floor itself is wood.
That
The
wood
floor's not gonna be blue.
No, the floor is wood.
Yeah, okay.
Here's some pictures.
All right, good.
Hopefully will
Oh, there we
This is too
go.
yellow.
guide us through.
These are close.
Thank you, sir.
There we go. So obviously the wood tone is the wood.
Good.
We got that. Here is the blue, the H.
This one did or this?
I don't care whatever blue and gold is. This is too yellow, though. You really want the gold, right, Dave?
No, it ain't gonna be this yellow. You throw that yellow out, they're gonna be gold.
There's the, you
These are the colors.
have to pick one
That's
of
the
these.
best gold. I think that you gotta pick a blue.
Yellow's too blah.
He's talking about this line right here.
Yeah.
Are you talking about this line right here?
And
All the yellows.
I'm talking about,
all the lines, all the
there's
colors.
blue, and there's this yellow or gold color. We have to pick,
These two right here.
Yeah, but you gotta pick them from here.
this is an artist rendering.
But
The
this is
real
what I'm saying.
colors that we're gonna use are samples of these are the colors.
Wait a minute. This is yellow.
No, but this, it'd be this color.
No, he's talking about the
No, no.
designation for the volleyball court.
It's a volleyball court there too. You see
Right.
this gray little line there?
Bob, maybe if I hold this up so.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying, yeah.
It's
Get
a
a good
that
look
gray
at
line.
this
court.
from the
You
video.
You don't see no gray here.
They're not seeing
You
it.
need one of these.
This
gray in
color.
here?
See this
Okay,
gray?
The
so
volleyball.
they gave me the
Blue and
colors.
gold, let me look it up,
We're,
see if I get it.
so we need another
This
color.
one
I'll
can be
find-
the regular blue, this one can be the regular gold.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's fine.
This right here, we got two colors right here.
Yeah, and
For
the
the
yellow
yellow
So
gold.
so now
And the
you
yellow?
need,
We need,
you
Something
need
for
a gray
volleyball.
color.
Don't know if you vote, if the
All right.
public can see this, but you can get an idea, we're just talking about the blues and yellows that are on here. So it's pretty much the framing
Now we can
where
display
it's
that
going in the
inside,
middle.
that way we don't have to hold the meeting.
It'd be gray.
this has to be gray.
Okay, I'll get another color, but this is what, these are the samples that you,
These two are blue and gold. We agree with that.
you're picking them.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
smart
but those are,
enough to
that's
stay
the
on
blue
this.
one, those are the two we're gonna use for the
See what
blue and
happens when
gold.
you let the men
But we
pick?
need a color.
Ladies, see what happens when you let the men pick?
We don't like
Oh,
this.
they left out a color.
Okay.
Look at your print. It's the third color.
So, you want it red?
It's four colors. It's two volleyball courts.
So, you may,
Pick Dave and Leo and John, pick what you like and we're good with it, right, Seth?
My main concern was the blue and the gold.
Let's see it.
yeah, but
I
this-
think.
but this line is gonna be blue. This line is gonna be blue. That's the line for the basketball court.
Whatever they pick, it's gonna be nice.
All right, let's
right.
do this, and that doesn't take,
To be continued.
to be
Yeah,
continued.
continue. I keep this one here. This is it. This is gonna be red.
Yeah, I think so. They're ready to do it. Can you imagine how many pennies you get then?
What else you got?
That would complete the city manager's report. It'd
Thank
be
you.
brought gray and another color, but I did. So we'll go from there.
All right. With that, I need a motion to open to the public, please.
Welcome.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody who'd like to speak from the public, please come forward, give your name and address to the city clerk. You'll have 3 minutes.
They got the, who's that? No, it's there. Yeah. Okay. Richard Sullivan, Hackensack, New Jersey. At the goals meeting, Mr. LaBrosse, you were tasked with enhance employer handbook to include a confidentiality clause. What does that mean? What are you trying to do there?
Confidentiality clause
Yeah.
is that I believe employees have to respect the privacy of their workplace. And I'll leave it at that.
Why don't we, you're gonna leave it at that in the time of
Well,
conscientious employee protection acts and retaliation for political activities and thoughts, lawsuits. You really want to go down that road?
no, I don't want to go down that road, but I also think if there's litigation or something involved, our employees need to know that there's certain things that should not be released from City Hall into the public sector.
Well, you may have a point, but this is generally done with resolutions, your handbook. You think perhaps it's appropriate to go with an ordinance so we can see what's going on?
Well, this was just a prelude to
No,
that.
no, I know, but I'm
Yeah.
saying, when you do, I assume you're gonna do it.
No, it would be reinforced with a resolution down the road.
Well, resolution,
Or an
I don't
ordinance.
think we get to see the booklet unless we open it.
Right.
But if you do it by ordinance, maybe. Just a thought. Okay, that's one
Right.
thing. Seeking clarification, I know I missed this meeting, but I know there are projects that are BT and not BT. The Sims Square Garden project,
Square Garden?
the M&M improvement. That's yours, right?
All of it is mine, apparently.
Well, I am, I don't say troubled, but puzzled.
Okay.
In the middle of it, or towards the end of it, we're hiring a clerk of the works. Can you go into a little more detail as to what necessitated this? We do have people on staff who do this sort of supervision, do we not?
We do.
We did or we do?
We currently do, yes.
So why are we outsourcing it?
There's issues that arose out of that project because of a dispute between the contractor and the designer.
Okay.
To sort that out is to get a third-party neutral who's going to look at both sides of the equation and figure out what should have been done, what could have been done, what we need to do.
Okay, let me ask you, is there some kind of an arbitration agreement with the contractor and the city that this third party is the?
He's on a fact-finding study at this point to bring this out. He has, the gentleman that's hired is hired through an engineering firm, has 40-plus years of experience.
I'm not questioning his credentials. I'm questioning the whole, I mean, this is a DMR supervising this, correct? For the city.
According to DMR, they are not supervising. They designed the project. We had a former project manager that worked here that was supposed to be watching the project, and apparently that was not done. So I'm trying to sort this out.
All right. It's not BT though, remember.
I understand.
And then, Mayor, I would just make one more point, you know, with respect to the employee handbook issue, that any changes to the employee handbook, of course, are going to go through legal review and make sure that they're appropriate and meet the current requirements of all existing laws. So that's an automatic.
Let's go to get back.
Through the mayor, if I may, Mr. Salkin had some questions of me at the goal-setting meeting, and I have some more information that while you're here still, I would like to share with you.
Absolutely.
There was,
Will I get an opportunity to respond?
I think you had your few minutes to speak. I'm just going to I'm going to share the information that I didn't have present with me at that time. Mr. Salkin brought up the fact that 100 State Street, which we recently renegotiated the pilot for, and his claim was that they were paying land tax on that, and that land tax was part of the amount that should have continued or was part of the equation. When in fact, what I answered Mr. Salkin to was that the New Jersey state statute for payment in lieu of taxes for pilots is very specific in that if once the pilot begins, if land tax continues to be paid, the individual developer must be reimbursed for that land tax within the following year. So they pay it, and each year, the next year, they have to be reimbursed for that land tax. So in essence, they're not paying any land tax. And I asked our redevelopment attorney to take out that original agreement with 100 State Street, because that is the one payment in lieu of tax agreement that was done prior to this council. And I have a copy. He actually took a picture of the statement that is included in their document, which I'll just read you because it's very short. In accordance with tax exemption law, including without limitation NJSA 40A:20-12, the owner shall be entitled to a credit against the annual service charge equal to the amount without interest of the land tax paid by it in the last 4 preceding quarterly installments. So not only is it the state statute, it's included directly in their agreement. We were able to negotiate with them. We owed 2 years back to them, and we were able to negotiate with them to drop that, to not make us pay that installment, because they agreed that some of the conditions of that pilot could have been more apropos and considerable to the other pilots. It happens that that developer is doing other projects in the city and graciously agreed to change the terms so it's similar to the other pilots that we're doing. But I wanted to clarify that, in essence, they're not paying land tax because they pay land tax and they get reimbursed for it the following year. And that's, again, required by state statute and required in particular by their financial agreement.
Thank you. Next, please. How are you?
Good, Mr. Mayor. How
How's
are
that?
you?
I'm good, thanks.
Good evening. It's been a while since I've been here. Gwen Jackson, 138 Union Street, Hackensack, New Jersey. It's exciting to see all the development that's going on in the city. It's wonderful, but we had a problem this past winter on Union Street. The last big snow that we had, of course, it says no parking when street is snow covered.
Right.
Unfortunately, No one came around with the bullhorn saying you must move your cars, etc., which they did the winter before, which was great because people then moved their cars or their cars got towed, and that was fine. But the last big snow, everybody got tickets. There was 2 other snows before that that were kind of heavy, but there was no ticketing. So I think there needs to be consistency with the ticketing. Either you're going to ticket every time there's a significant snow or not, because I think people get confused. Sometimes people park there, and there's like 4 or 5 inches of snow, and the guys can't get down the street and plow properly. No tickets are given. So I think that the ticketing has to be consistent. Either they come with the bullhorns every single time there's like a 4 or 5 inch snow, move your cars don't get moved, they get ticketed or towed. Because people need to know that you're serious about it. Because I think people are not taking this seriously.
What's your name?
Gwen Jackson.
Ms. Jackson, that was on one of my goal settings, that the police get out there with the bullhorns and tell people to move their cars.
Yes. It needs to be done consistently.
You're absolutely correct.
Consistently.
It sends a mixed message.
Yeah,
You're absolutely
because I don't think people take it seriously. They're still parking the cars there 4 or 5 inches. The DPW can't get down and plow properly, because when the cars are moved and no cars are there, they can plow properly. And it really makes the city looks good.
Makes a big difference.
And so it makes a big difference. And those signs, people see them, they don't pay attention because they get complacent. Nobody comes and tickets them, no bullhorns to tell people to move the cars. Consistency is what we need on Union Street.
Okay, ma'am, could you do me
throughout the
one?
whole city, not just on.
Yeah, yeah,
The whole city.
definitely. Oh, my
Prospect,
goodness, yes,
it's all
definitely
over.
throughout the whole city, absolutely.
It's basically-
And as we're growing, this is going to be a continual problem.
Right.
Could I get you to write your cell number down, and I will follow up with you and the police director, and we'll have this conversation.
Okay.
The other thing, Ms. Jackson, you might want to sign up for Nixle alerts, because with the Nixle alerts actually is like an electronic bullhorn where you'll get a text message telling you
It'll go right on your phone.
that you can't park. Not
Website.
not everybody has it, but it's available for free, and you just sign up for it.
I do get the phone calls.
Yep, you should sign up for that. Yes, folks,
So I got a ticket the last snowstorm.
right?
Okay.
So because of
You
that,
want to start this as a new person?
Yes, a new
Because we're
person,
running
sorry.
out of time right
Just
now.
have to
Just
give your
state
name and address. Just
my name is Jeff Dixon, 103 Lawrence Street, Hackensack. So I got a ticket because of that, and because of the inconsistency. So I was confused. So I don't know where to go. Should I? I mean, I'm trying.
Can I see the summons, sir?
Oh, okay.
Do you know when your court date is?
Well, I don't know if it's past that. Yeah,
Can I speak?
Yeah.
I'm his brother. Can I speak?
sure.
Yeah. If it was consistency, then he wouldn't have parked there. You understand what I'm saying? Then the car would have been moved if they had come around with the blowhorn.
And they didn't even clean the.
I'm not
And they-
saying
and they
that,
didn't-
no, but
and
it
they-
still, it still was a sign there, though.
But they did not even clean after the fact.
It's still a sign there, though.
But they didn't clean after the fact.
There
So
were
if,
cars parked on the street.
but the cars, half of the block was moved after they got the tickets, and there was no cleaning after the fact. So giving us a ticket for something that you're not doing consistently is like, explain that to us.
Miss, nothing against you. DPW is out there all night at 10, 11 o'clock. Those guys go home because they've been out there all night long.
Okay.
Unfortunately, it was just no parking on the street when it snowed.
And
It's almost like when the street sweeper doesn't go down your street and you get a ticket, it's the same exact thing. There's no parking on the street when it's snow covered.
Okay.
That said, the city needs to do a better job. We go through this isn't the first year this has happened.
Can
Are we
I,
gonna bring the blowhorn out to inform us?
We
move
need
our
to
car?
notify the residents better. We need to come up in bad storms on where people can put their cars while the streets are being plowed.
your telephone
Uh,
number?
you know.
Your telephone recall.
Okay.
And we've worked, we've had a couple different tries at this, and it's not working because the enforcement's not being done. And, if it was done properly, you unfortunately would have still gotten a ticket, but the roads would have been plowed.
You have to get the ticket first in order to have the car towed.
Okay,
You got a blessing, you only got a ticket.
okay,
Not to say it like that.
okay. All right, thank you.
But we promise we're going to work harder on getting these things off the street, getting the cars off the street or moved.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you.
Hello.
Hi, ma'am, how are
Hi. My name is Nikisha DeWitt, and my address is 137 Union Street. And I have a question. I see all the development is going on and everything. And I wanted to know, is there any low-income housing in the developments or just luxury?
you? Is there any, repeat that again? Any?
Low-income housing in the
Is there any
developments?
affordable housing?
Yes.
Inside these developments? Not inside the Main Street corridor. We're working on an affordable housing project with some developers in the area. It's kind of like a block away from here, this area. Looking into that, but what's being done with, because we have a rather large stock of, we have a housing authority, which is basically low-income housing, which we meet our requirements as far as what used to be called COA is.
Because where do you go to, when this is all going on, when do you go to apply for this stuff? For the things that you saying?
For the housing authority?
The new ones that you
You go
said.
right down to the housing authority in Hackensack. There's a housing authority, and you can
Okay.
get on a list.
Okay.
And there's, I don't know how many people on it.
They had a list opening about a month ago.
See, I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
65 First Street.
65?
Mhm.
Okay, because I didn't know, because I'm fairly new to the area,
Yep.
so I really don't know.
What you should do is, take a ride over there, get the information, find out when the list is going up again, so you can get on the list and do it that way. But the other thing we're doing is the developers that are putting up buildings in the area, not necessarily all of the ones on Main Street, but many of them are putting money into an affordable trust fund for affordable housing. And that money is used either for projects like we're talking about building and/or fixing up existing affordable housing stock that we already have in town.
Okay.
So they are putting their fair share in, a lot of the developers.
Okay, so the only thing to get on this list, you go down to 65 First Street and
First
put
floor.
on the first floor, and then hopefully it's open, then hopefully it's open, and I can just put my name on there.
You can put your name, hoping it's open, but that list I know is like 75, 85 people already.
Okay. I just wanted to know.
But there's several areas in town. I mean, there's 230 Central, there's over by Newman Street. You're a younger lady, so you wouldn't qualify for the senior housing yet, but there is also senior housing. You got a ways to go for that one.
Okay. Because I just wanted to know, because, I pay rent now, and I wanted to know where I pay rent at is not too a nice place. So I'm just trying to figure out when is this, listing is going to be open. I don't know.
Right.
Because I'm new to the area, so that's why,
They'll be
I
able to
wanted
tell you
know.
when you go down there how many people are on the list and probably give you like an approximate waiting time on it.
Okay.
There is always a way to get into it.
Well, I understand that. Now I know where I can go put my name on there. At least I'm on the waiting list.
All right.
Okay,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
And anybody else from the public wanted to speak? Seeing none, motion to close.
Offer.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion to go into closed session.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. All right,
Whereas
folks.
the mayor and council of the city of Hackensack deem it necessary to discuss certain actions under section 7B7 and 7B8 of the Open Public Meetings Act, which pertains to matters falling within attorney-client privilege, ongoing litigation, and personnel matters concerning the employment of a current or prospective public employee. Whereas the mayor and council of the city of Hackensack is of the opinion that such circumstances may presently exist, and whereas the mayor and council wish to discuss the following issues: personnel matters, ongoing litigation, matters involving attorney-client privilege, matters involving the purchase, lease, or acquisition of real property, any pending or anticipated litigation or contract negotiations. Now therefore be it resolved that the mayor and council of the city of Hackensack deem it necessary to exclude the public from this discussion. The outcome of the discussion will be disclosed within 90 days or as such time as the interests of the city do not require confidentiality. Steve?
I do not have any updates of any litigation that I feel I need to bring to the council's attention, but if they ask me about any cases, I will announce it afterwards.
All right, 8 o'clock, we'll be back. Good evening, everybody. Madam Clerk,
We need a motion to adjourn the executive session.
need a motion to adjourn the executive session, please.
Offer.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, none opposed?
Need a motion to adjourn the COW.
Motion to adjourn the COW meeting, please.
Offer.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, none opposed?
And I will just add, for the record, we did discuss the ongoing litigation involving the 64 Prospect incident, and after the mayor was excused, the Nuttermacher lawsuit.